Hi Gagan. Today in conversation with DC is Gagan Arora, the very handsome and the very fresh face of town. How are you, Gagan? Welcome to DC Conversations.
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's dive in. You started behind the
Yes.
camera as an AD on Stree,
Yes.
the fabulous
Yes.
movie. How does the technical background shape your choices on set today?
I think it helps me be more aware of. I think it helps me be more aware of the set. It helps me be a little more empathetic towards all the departments on the set. I know what the kind of chaos that's going behind the curtains, and uh, as an actor, a little bit more sense of camera and the cinema and what's been happening around me. It helps in me kind of perform better and also kind of absorb the brief that's given to me by the directors. So to know all of that from behind the camera, that does help a lot.
Okay. Okay. College Romance was a breakout. Between season one and season four, what changed most and how you approached Bagga and his changes?
Uh, Season one was the least I was scared about. I had nothing to lose. I just went on like a star-eyed boy, and I enjoyed every bit of it. But after the breakout happened, after the amazing response for 2 seasons, that's the most pressure that I've felt as an actor ever. Uh, I've never. It took me almost 2 seasons to kind of get used to it and find a way to deal with it because there was just too much happening around that character. There's too much talk. The people anticipated a lot of things. A lot of social media happening, and I didn't. I was too young to kind of deal with it. I, for a moment of time, I मेरे पाँव जमीन पे नहीं थे. I kind of took that maybe a little to my head, the kind of fame that came to me overnight. And I think the most nervous I was with the second season, but I got better. And the last is the one that I enjoyed the most, being in the senses that this is the last one. And by the fourth, I was able to handle the pressure. I was a little more humble and a little more grateful about what's been happening uh, because of that show in my career.
Okay. Um, since we're talking about Bagga, what part of Bagga was the hardest to shake off after the show wrapped up?
Ah, the I think it still remains in me. I have not been able to shake it off completely. Almost all something the characters sometimes some give you something or the other, and with that, I think it was just how to never take anything seriously. That that is the one thing that kind of stayed back with me. Uh, I took life a little less seriously and my decisions less seriously after college romance because I saw the kind of response people have when you're just full of joy and full of life.
Yeah, that's true. Then came Tabbar, a big shift tonally. What prep
Yeah.
did the role demand and others did?
Ah, so technically Tubber released before, but chronologically, Fame Game came before that. And what happened was it didn't happen over time. I went through a long phase of being typecasted because of Bagga. And it took me around at least 2 to 3 years for somebody to kind of see a different shade in me. And that happened with Fame Game. And then Tubber happened. So the worst bit about preparing for Tabbar was that I was used to this high octane show called College Romance, where I'm supposed to do something, I'm improvising in every scene. You're not supposed to shut up. You need to pull your whole body behind that character. It's a very slapstick show. You are on your toes. And to go to Tabbar was just to calm everything down, remove all the senses that you have and kind of just be comfortable in not doing anything on screen, just being comfortable in sitting and not thinking of the next joke in your head. So I think that was the biggest joke that I felt at that time, and I think that was the toughest to calm down the energy that I was used to being on set.
Yeah. Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong. You shot Tubber and the Fame game almost back to back, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, how did you manage this? Like, how did you mentally separate the two worlds and the two characters and like everything about them, even the show, like everything, the storyline, everything is different. How did you manage that?
Um, I think I've been long preparing for characters like this because I was in this dire need to break out of that typecast. So I was long prepared for anything that's not the shade of comedy. So with Fame Game, it happened that I got a lot of help from the directors. So me like anybody in India is a fanboy of Madhuri Dixit, and what happened is that our director made sure that I never met her on set or in a meeting or a reading until before my first scene with her. So the first time I am interacting as a fan is the first time on camera that happened in the scene where I sneak into her vanity, and the that kind of helped me with the prep of it. That kind of, because there was this continuous build up of when will I get to meet her, when will I get to meet her. I'm such a big fan, I have to tell her so many things. And then cut to I'm directly sitting in a scene with her and she being in all her glory, and it actually worked a lot better for me as a character.
She's lovely, isn't she?
Oh, she's beautiful.
I'm sure. We've been looking at her. She doesn't age. Have you noticed that? She doesn't
Doesn't
age. She's just not aged
doesn't
a bit. Just as beautiful, as gorgeous, as lovely as she was ever, forever. So yeah, I get your point there. What was there a moment during the same game when you truly felt out of your depth, in a good way?
uh so in terms of, there's a sequence in Fame Game where uh, I get so fanatic about somebody trying to expose me that I get into an action sequence where I beat somebody up, and I'd never done anything like that before. And it was supposed to be all aggression and a lot of blood and a lot of glass shattering around me. And I think I, as a moment, in a moment, I felt that the character took over for a moment, and I got really, really in the other person's face for a moment of time. The director loved it. Everybody loved it. Nobody got to be almost gonna do something more physically, but it helped the take. But that is when I realized for the first time that, oh, I'm doing something where I might need to harness this energy a little better.
Okay. So you've
Yeah.
done comedy, you've done drama, and you've
Yes.
done thrillers. Which script pushed you the most out of your comfort zone?
Uh, I think Khauf is the one that I think I was most out of my comfort zone with. Initially, it happened with Tabbar because, as I said, I wasn't used to being so calm. I wasn't supposed to not doing anything and just emoting. My director Ajit Pal Singh helped me a lot with that process of that you've learned a certain type of acting, and this is something which is going to be totally different. And the process of every project, how different that is, I think that's what makes it tougher. With Fame Game, it was for me to go internal. With Tubber, it was more physically internal. And with Khauf was a different monster altogether.
You're stepping into horror. What does the genre let you do as an actor that others don't?
So with Khauf, it's amazing how honest that script is. So if you see the show, you'll come to know that the writers have done such a fantastic job in terms of how honestly they've shown what a woman goes through in Delhi in a day, what a woman goes through in any of the metro cities in a day. And when I read the script for the first time, I was like, this is going to be tough because I have to be so honest this time that it has to come across like I'm the worst human being alive, that I shouldn't be here. and I what horror let me do. Let I think it was more about what these writers had in mind, and that was a little challenging because I've never come across when I've never justified such actions before. I come from a school of acting where you need to justify anything that I'm doing on stage before I'm doing anything. If I'm not supposed to judge my characters white, black, gray. So when I was doing something, for example, even if I'm harassing a woman on screen, I need to justify a reason in my head before I do that because I need to have a motivation. And that bridge was the toughest for me to cross because the moment I used to start to find motivations or justifications for those things, I would just come across my mind and I would feel, oh my god, some part of me feels like this is a justifiable action. And then I would get stuck into the loop again and again and again. So that I think was the toughest in terms of doing horror and horror.
Okay. Um, so OTT has played a huge role in your career, right? You do
Yes.
you feel the need to cross over into like big screen cinema, so called, or is it an outdated pressure now?
It's not a pressure that I feel. The day I get a character where I feel challenged enough, the day I feel a character come up, which is kind of making me a making me a point, a part of that whole chain where I'm contributing to the final outcome of a script or I'm contributing to taking the story forward. I love to do it. I do not want to do things that do not excite me, even if it's for a bigger screen, smaller screen, or a phone screen. It doesn't matter like that to me. What matters is what I get to play because I really enjoy the process. I absolutely enjoy being on a set, and I do not want to be a person who's there on set just for money and do not want to be a person on set who's just there without being excited.
I get you what you're saying. Of all the characters that you've played, which one do you think that people kind of misunderstood and why? If at all you think
Mm.
that way.
I don't think people have misunderstood a lot of characters that I've played. Um, Something that came close was, I think, same game, and but yet, even that was justified. A lot of because what happens is even now these days, anything that you do, you can't find a YouTube video explaining the end of a show or explaining the every bit of a character that's out there. So there's not left to kind of misunderstand out in terms of my characters. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to play a little game. um,
Nice.
which give me like one word that you think suits, describes your acting feel the most. One word.
My acting field.
Your feel the your the feel of Gagan Arora. What do you think? If there is a word that we could sum it up with, what would that word be?
I'd like to say versatile.
I think I would agree with you. Okay, so the last question to you today is, let's say you've had a bad audition, which I'm sure you don't, but if in case you do,
I've
who's
had
the person
many.
you call?
I've had many. Just want to let you
Really?
know I've had many. Yes.
Oh, how nice! It's good to know that you're also human. But
Yeah.
so tell me, who is the person you call if you have like a bad day or if you've had a a bad audition, for example.
Uh, I live with my wife, so anything that happens, mostly she is the first person who's reading any script with me as another character. So she's the first audience. She's the first critic of most of the things. She's actually too blunt sometimes. I would like her to not be that blunt and that honest with me sometimes. But yeah, I think it's her always who I call, who I text, who I tell that this is not even close to what I thought it would be. And there are
Yeah.
multiple reasons for an audition to go wrong. But it mostly ends up around her and she telling me that okay, move on to the next one. It's all right. You'll do better the next time. And she reminds me the next time. be better this time.
All right, all right. That sounds great. That's all we have the time for today. Thank you so much, Gagan. It has been such a pleasure talking to
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Lovely. Lovely
Take
talking to
care.
you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.